Forget the IQ, forget the college degree. It's all Babylonian nonsense anyway. Ask yourselves, how many of you would think it is okay for you to be covertly drugged after you've been studying psychiatry for 2 decades? You've been on many psych meds in your life, and none of them ever helped you, not even for a moment. And you are insightful as I am, as I have displayed in my videos alone. An uncanny ability to figure things out. Number one. Number two, with no violent history, and I'm 35, no arrests for violence, none. They might fabricate some in the future. They might plant evidence in the future. I've been saying this for a long time. And if I stop making videos without an explanation, if I go to prison, if I get charged with any serious crime especially, you know damn well they set me up, and that is irrefutable evidence of the gang stalking and the sabotage and the persecution against me. So also what I'd like to say is, should the British have drugged the American revolutionaries? You know, should they have drugged Benjamin Franklin, Patrick Henry, and Samuel Adams, and all these guys? Should they have drugged them? So it is fair to say that if somebody has a political reason to want to be violent, it is logical to assume that it is normal to come to that conclusion and not the result of mental illness. So when you take that away from this scenario, what valid reason do they have? I will give you $10,000 if you can definitively show me one valid reason that a rational mind would agree with, that I would say, you know what, that's a good reason. There is none. I live with my parents, you know, in order to help out my grandma and my parents, and because they're sabotaging my life. Both my brothers right now do not have a job. One of them has a master's degree, the other one has a degree in computer science with many certificates and over 7 years of experience as you know, working as a computer scientist. So this idea that, oh, he's not able to get a job. You know, welcome to America. Here, as a black man, even with a degree, you can have trouble getting a job. So that's not going to work. Many women have expressed a desire to be with me, and I don't like them. You know, they don't meet my requirements. I don't mean to disrespect them in this video, but that's not going to work either. I've been betrayed by my family and friends. So to say, well, he's socially isolating himself. When the people around you have betrayed you and you have 12 witnesses, that is not a reasonable reason either. So you can't name a single logical reason to need to covertly drug me. So the idea that you're covertly drugging me with a medication that's helping me is insane. Everyone who's been watching my videos knows that it has made me very angry, very agitated, and very vindictive. The covert drugs and the psych meds in my entire life, they have never helped me for a moment in my entire life. My viewers see that. Hell, I'm wearing fucking glasses now. They have harmed me on record. They've never helped me. So the idea that they're doing this to help me is preposterous, outlandish, and just insane, unspeakably stupid. It's unforgivably stupid and unacceptable. So therefore, we must come to the conclusion, with all the prank calls, with the prank call from the martial arts studio, with the martial artists that used to go to my dojo, helping them gang stalk me. Some of my dojos I've seen for over 3 different places, actually 4. You know, I'm not going to name them. I believe I have before, and I'm going to leave it that. You know, so there has been representatives from dozens of schools who have either contacted me or gang stalked me. I don't think this is a coincidence. Why didn't they just simply do the honorable thing and accept my challenge and try to beat me? Because they know that I'm the best, and that's part of the reason I'm being gang stalked. Period. That's not even up for debate. There's no other way it could be. How many of you think that these people would have helped them gang stalk me if, you know, for no reason at all? What reason would they have? Every group has a reason. There's gay groups. I speak about gays. There's feminist groups, I speak about feminists. There's secret societies, I speak about secret societies. I've identified mental health people, law enforcement, everyone I talk about who cannot defend themselves because they're in the wrong, have contributed to gang stalking. And they don't have a single valid, logical reason to covertly drug me or to think that I need to seek mental help. I have a higher moral standard. I believe in sacred morality. And in 35 years of being provoked by scum, I have no violent criminal history. In fact, my record is clean. The only time I've been in trouble with the law, it was expunged because it was such a frivolous, such an insignificant event. So I have no criminal history. 35 years old, black. In a nation where, 1 in 3 black men are in prison by the time they're 25 or whatever it is, or jail, incarcerated. I am performing above average for my demographic in this nation. You want to talk about socially normative? You have to consider the culture and you have to consider the demographic. You can't just say, well, that guy's speaking Ebonics, maybe he's retarded. No, you have to consider that that is normative in the black communities, especially the poor black communities. So when you come to this conclusion, you're forced to see it my way. Not only am I smarter than 99% of America plus, according to their own scale, the IQ, the SSAT, I went to college prep school, I have a degree, on and on and on. Not to mention my, 20 years independent study and 7 years on record with 10,000 valid sources. You're going to be hard pressed to find anyone else who has done that. Exchanging ideas with people for the last 7 years, every step of the way. You'll be hard pressed to find anyone else who has done that the way I have and with such due diligence. So therefore, it is insane. It is neurotic. It is schizophrenic. It is psychotic to pretend that there is a valid reason to covertly drug me that has to do with mental health and keeping people safe or anything like that. Nonsense. There are gangbangers rioting and going fucking ham all over the country. I live in the middle of fucking nowhere on 15 acres. There is no pressing need to fucking drug me. Absolute hypocrisy, double standard nonsense. These are oppressors who don't want to admit that I am right about every single key point. And I have $1,000 fucking dollars if you can disprove any key point wrong. Couple this with my martial arts video and you will figure out something that I'm going to wait until December to spell out. Thank you.
I'm going to give you 6 reasons why gang stalkers have no excuse for what they're doing. And then I'm going to destroy the idea that it is okay to covertly drug or force medicate someone such as myself who's 35 with no violent criminal history on record. Number 1, the biggest problem that faces our society has to do with people with an inferior philosophy that operate with impunity, okay, and operate behind the scenes. Not only do they have the power to have a very negative effect on society, but they're operating with impunity. They're doing so unchecked. Therefore, it is the biggest problem, period. When it comes to diseases and other things, perhaps we could solve them if it wasn't for these people operating with impunity. So the biggest problem facing us isn't cancer, it isn't heart disease, it's not even abortion. It's actually these people working behind the scenes and doing eugenics and soft killing us, because a lot of these things are related to that. They're in no rush to solve the number one causes of deaths and preventable deaths, because it's part of their eugenic agenda. They operate with impunity. And so even if they weren't doing eugenics, they're still one of the categories of the biggest problem that faces us, one of the subcategories. Is people who operate with impunity, criminals, eugenicists, etc., behind the scenes, gangstalkers. Number 2, they have inferior logic and they care about their image, not what is right. And they use that image to further their sick agenda. So, when you look at this, right, it's whistleblowers, people who won't, quote unquote, fall in line, people who are challenging the status quo and what have you. All right, they care about their image. This is not about, covertly saving the world from, a mad scientist trying to release a deadly toxin or something, or create a pandemic. This is about, maintaining their face, saving their image. And in many cases, that image deserves to be ruined. Pretty much in all cases, right? Because if they can't defend themselves, the chances are they're guilty of what they're being called out for, right? Number 3, what they're doing is eugenics friendly, aka these people are not truly concerned with opposing the elite. Whenever you have a eugenic friendly movement or group or philosophy, they're not truly against the elite. And I've gone over this time and time again. Number 4, they've been caught doing heinous crimes over and over. Rape, attempted murder, intimidation, vandalism, drugging, harming kids, fuming, stealing, harassing, stalking, coercion, and more. And I'll play you a clip about that at the end. A lot of these people are law enforcement or mental health, breaking oaths, not reporting crimes, participating in them. So these are the people who are supposed to stop these types of people. And that's part of why they're operating with impunity. So whenever you have a crime done by law enforcement or the people who are supposed to enforce the law, it should be exponentially worse. The punishment should be exponentially worse. For the same reason, when you have a crime on an airplane, right, the punishment is worse because you're in this kind of trapped environment. And it's worse for humanity, and it's worse for the victims. And the same reason when law enforcement does a crime. I recommend that they have a minimum of double the punishment. If they murder people using the color of law or using their knowledge of the law, they should have 50 to life instead of 25, for instance. So the punishment should be double for law enforcement when they commit crimes. Number 6, there's extreme hypocrisy. Think about the first 5 and how they care about their image and how they're going to say, well, it's because you're doing this. They love to, harass me about petty stuff, insignificant stuff that they perceive that I'm doing wrong. And even if you took them at face value, even if you said, look, even if you believed them and said, okay, this guy's mentally ill, he doesn't want to admit to himself. Well, these people are the worst criminals, saying that I need to be gangstalked because I have a mental illness I won't admit to myself. Really? That is like a serial killer getting a bunch of people to help them gangstalk somebody for speeding. He was speeding back in 2006, and he didn't get a ticket. We need to gangstalk him to death. It is extreme hypocrisy. Not just hypocrisy, extreme hypocrisy.